Welcome back, everybody, to the Expo podcast. I am your host, Taylor White. With me here today, I have Mr. Number One, the most viewed podcast, listened to podcast in all of 2024, the King of the South, Mr. Trey Bohannan. Welcome back.
Hey, guys. Hope y'all are doing well.
How you doing coming off that big win of being number one?
Well, I didn't know nothing about it because I don't keep up with a lot of social media stuff.
Which is interesting for you because you are, you know what's interesting? So the first time, this is the second time, this is your first time seeing Trey. He's down in Arkansas, right? Pine Bluff?
Yep, Pine Bluff, Arkansas.
I remember I was scrolling TikTok one night and I saw him and I was like, this was a while. I think you had like 2,000, 3,000 followers. And I was like, wow, this guy's really interesting. And now here you are. I just saw you were just at World of Concrete. Representing, you were there with Busy, and you were doing all this stuff, and it's crazy to see how far you've come.
Yeah, it's been a pretty wild ride. I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. We still have to run a business and do everything we do, but I enjoy being able to help people. That's my number one goal. Is I lost my mentor 3 years ago on January 25th. We just had the 3rd year anniversary. And right after he had passed away, that's when I started doing this. And it's been a good deal. And I'm glad a lot of people enjoy it. And, we have some good people that watch the channels.
And that's actually interesting to know. So like you losing your mentor made you realize maybe I should put myself out there and maybe I could mentor thousands of other people.
He took me, I went to work for him when I was 13, 14 years old. And he didn't have to spend the time or share the knowledge or teach me the things he did, but he did. And we were best friends up to the day he died. He was 83 years old, but he was just such a remarkable guy and such a gentleman. But at the same time, he could be standing next to angels and sitting on the devil's shoulder. He had two sides of him. He could be the meanest dude you ever met or the nicest person you want to know.
I got to say, like Big Trey, he's on your social media. He's reading the DMs. He's looking at the comments on TikTok, whatever, emails, mails, whatever's coming in. You guys do such a good job, and you do a good job of finding the questions that people have and you answer them. And I think that's why you found so much success is because like you're not lying to anybody. You've actually done it. And the way that you answer is just so transparent and honest. What would you say is the most asked question that people reach out to, and what type of people are reaching out to you?
So I got a couple emails behind me on the desk there. They print them out. And so I have to give 99% of the credit to our channel, to Big Trey. If it weren't for him, we would never have this. I've never sent an email, never plan on sending a damn email. He knows all this technology stuff, and we come from two totally different backgrounds, and it works. Now he also is in charge of a lot of dump trucks here, running sub trucks, our trucks, keeping materials on jobs and stuff. It's a great deal because I could be in the field and make sure things happen. He's logistically making sure things happen. So just because I grew up this way and he grew up this way doesn't mean you don't have a great fit. We make it work. But I cannot take all the credit. He is 99% of the reason that, where we're at with the social media stuff.
Now, what would you say when you do have, those emails out printed behind you? What is the most asked question?
Okay, Taylor, here's one. Hey, I want to start my own excavation company, but I don't know how to bid for excavation or backfill. Okay. This guy, I'm not going to mention his name, but all right, here's another one, which that's not a common question. This is one that says, hey man, I'm from West Tennessee. I just recently started following you on TikTok, been doing smaller jobs, house pads, driveways, land clearing, etc. Looking forward to expanding to another piece of equipment this coming year. What's your thoughts on next piece of equipment? So a lot of them are either, hey, Trey, I want to get into commercial work. I do residential. Or Trey, what's the next piece of equipment I should buy?
And how would you answer that last question that you read?
So it's kind of hard to say, Taylor, without knowing exactly what this guy's got going on. But I would say skid steer, mini X, small dump truck, something that could pull both of them. You could utilize the dump truck. You're just working by yourself. Make that work.
So for somebody that's already in construction, they're doing residential, and I guess maybe a lot of guys just want to know, how do they get to that next step, right?
Yeah, the next step is generally a lucky phone call. That's just being straight up honest. a lucky phone call, contractor calls you that you met at a parts store, just whatever. You might not even know the guy. And he says, hey, I need some grading for these sidewalks on this job. The dirt contractor's busy. Can't get them over here. They're not answering your phone. You get your ass in the skid steer and get over there and start grading out for sidewalks, And if you don't know how to shoot grade, ask them. They'll teach you. They're in a bind, so just make it happen.
Would you say making relationships though is key, and then taking care of those contractors, at Christmas time, getting them a little gift, or, taking them out to a breakfast or lunch or something like that?
They're your lifeline. They are, and you know that, Taylor, you're in the business. Those contractors are our lifeline. And without them, we're nothing. Without, if I'm not out selling out front, none of this matters.
So if you're residential, you want to get into construction, you should finally get the call. What, I guess, things would you tell somebody to look out for? Because a couple of things come to my mind. It would be, it's not residential world, so you're not getting paid within 30 days. Sometimes it's 60, 90, and you got your 10% retainage holdbacks. What kind of advice would you tell somebody, or what tips would be like, hey, look out for this, look out for that?
Yeah, so they need to have a little bit of capital built up, whether that being your grandma has $10,000 in the bank and can help you out, whatever it takes to get there. And I tell folks all the time, I started with nothing, but I've always been like a pit bull. I'm going to fight till my ears are ate off, and if you got any quit in you, you might as well go Dollar General and just Stockbridge, because that's where you're going to be the rest of your life.
So do you remember your big break, I guess, your phone call, your lucky phone call?
Damn sure do. They had a big project the city did downtown, and it was a big landscape job. It was probably right at $100,000. And the contractor said he took it was a sprinkler system, finished grade dirt slabs, the top 4 inches, and trees. And I think when it was said and done, I was around $75,000, $80,000, So I walked in it and I knocked it out in like 2 weeks. I never had that kind of money. I went and bought an S-150 Bobcat, paid cash for it, bought another work truck. So that one little job got me up to this next step, and after that, everything is just a step. And at some point in your life, I don't care how good you are at doing shit, you're going to lose 50% of all your shit at some point in life, whether it be a divorce, an inheritance gone wrong. You got siblings, you might have a farm or a construction company, and you got to split it all up. At some point in life, any successful man is going to lose 50% of all his shit. And you got to be prepared for it.
Yeah. And it's interesting too that you mentioned that your first commercial job went really well, because a lot of the times with commercial, at least for us, like residential, the profit margins are a little bit higher. And then the commercial world, they're normally a little bit lower, but the overall gross is a lot more.
Commercial can eat you alive. I mean, I have been on jobs where we got our asses handed to us. You learn from those mistakes. Everything I teach on any of this is from my mistakes, because I've made them for the last 30 years, and I'm going to probably make them for the next 10 or 15, whatever God lets me stick around for. And I'm going to screw up on the daily and pop a wheelie every time I can.
Yeah. We were talking about that this morning, and we're pricing a commercial job, and we have a sub working under us, for asphalt and concrete. And a buddy of mine that works out right now, he just got hit with a change order from the sub working under him, saying that he was 3 inches low on the whole parking lot. And they hit him with like a $70,000 hit, and the GC approved it. Now he has got to give this money back, and it's actually insane. I mean, and he's just, a couple of years in business, and although he'll recover from it, that's the sort of stuff that we were talking about this morning. I'm like, guys, we have to document everything. When we're done our excavation and they're coming in behind us to asphalt or concrete, I'm walking around with the GPS stick with them, and we're going to confirm all the grades together. And then after that, we're all going to sign a document saying we walked around together and all the grades were good. And it's be crazy, because that's the world of commercial. Is the next guy, he doesn't care who you are, about your family or your kids. They're going to screw you if they can to get some more money out of the GC, get a change order.
I ran into the exact same thing about 5 years ago on a big project. We were doing all the blue rock, and asphalt contractor came in 3 months. He was busy. 3 months later, a bunch of big rains come in, railed it all out. We were about 77 loads that wasn't there no more. We were trucking it, I want to say around 75 miles, somewhere in that area one way, plus buying the material. So I did it, and I figured it out later. And I got with the contractor. I said, this dog won't hunt. Y'all going to pay me for this. And we sat down and they did. They paid me for that rock, but it was all degrading, and they it was all on hills, so it railed it out bad. all of it was in the ditches and culverts and everything else.
What would you say, is a good trait to have in that scenario? Because in that scenario, I think, as a business owner, much like maybe your mentor, it's good to be a lover, but you also need to be a fighter. You need to be able to stick it to somebody when they're trying to stick it to you.
Well, the best thing in that type of situation is have a wall to your back where you can't back up. You can only go forward. If you are 3 inches low, 4 inches low, or whatever, it happens. Go in there and fill it in. Say, no, we ain't going to do shit. We're going to have my trucks come in, bring it in. We're going to set that base, and then y'all can start instead of somebody changing on them $70,000 and letting a GC approve it. Because me and that GC is going to have a long talk.
Was there anything whenever you started doing, like going from, residential and commercial? Well, how much of your business now is commercial? Like, are you like 50-50 commercial residential?
100%. It's been 100 for a long time. My guys are paid very well, and I cannot send somebody being paid that much money to go over and do a driveway. I just can't make any money, and fall through a culvert or septic tank. And that's the hardest thing to do, Taylor, is to say no. But damn it, I say no all the time. They'll come in here. Hey, this call down the road needs 3 acres cleared. No. Hey, this guy needs a driveway put in. No. Hey, there's a pool that needs to be filled in town. No. But what I do, Taylor, is I have a bunch of subs under me. We call them, say, hey, Jimmy Bob, this guy needs a pool put in. I'm going to sell you the material. I can help with the truck and whatever. How much you going to charge me? I'm going to charge you $3,500. Okay. Hey, Mr. Dude that needs your pool filled in, we can do it for $6,500. Boom, done.
That's smart to do it that way.
That's just the way we do it. But we just cannot afford to. We can't. I can sit here and crush rock. If my guys have nothing to do, we can sit back here and crush concrete, or be working in the shop.
That's interesting. So if you're on a commercial job removing concrete, you bring it back to your yard, crush it, and then sell it back on other jobs?
Yeah. So we bring it all back here, and then we stockpile it, and then we run it through the crusher and the screen plant. And a lot of people bring me concrete. They all know I take concrete. So I charge them $60 a tilt fee, get 60 off that tracks, load right off the get-go, and then I'm going to turn it back and crush it up and retail it back out for $300.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I like that idea. Yeah. What kind of setup do you have for crushing and screening?
So we got a Sandvik crusher. I don't know the numbers on it. It's a big one on tracks, 130,000 pounds. And then I got an Aztec screen plant that puts out 3 different materials, 1.5 inches in fines, a 6 to 8 inch, and then a 3 to 4 inch clean.
Oh, nice. That's really neat. Does that make you more competitive on your commercial jobs?
I don't know if it makes me more competitive, but it sure is a good downtime operation. When we have nothing else to do, let's go crush rock. If we got track hose available here in the lot, we'll put them on that, or whatever. We just fired back up on it yesterday. We hadn't crushed any in 6 months, but we just haven't had time.
So you're pretty busy right now?
Yeah, we got 3 big ones going right now and a 4th one in the pipeline, and we'll know here in a couple of weeks if we got it. So we're going to have to get after, but we're failing moisture. We failed moisture this morning, 1% on a job. So I moved them over to another job. So, every day I have a plan A, B, and a C, and plan D's go home. They're done.
Yeah. That is key though. I mean, that's smart. Like you have to be able to move the guys around and have something else in case something doesn't go.
Oh yeah. Before you get to work, you need to have your plan laid out. You don't need to get in front of all your guys and say, well, I don't know what we're going to do today. Because if you do that, it's not going to last long.
So do you do a lot of the operations yourself then? Like as far as dispatch, who's going where the next day, as far as crews?
No, I do more of the just hands-on, but I have a say-so in a lot of it.
Yeah, like what's going on. How big's your office staff?
We got Big Trey and Rick in the office. And so Rick is pretty much over all the financials and everything. Big Trey is, doing the logistics on the truck. And then Brooksy, one of our main guys, he kind of runs all the smaller crews on the landscape mowing side, which he had a massive heart attack on us. So he is going to be pretty much a office personnel full time now, which is going to be great.
Who does the estimating?
Big Trey and me and Tyler. We got another boy named Tyler. Tyler does all our GPS stuff. He's real smart, and he goes out on the jobs and checks grade, shoots grade, and we bid stuff 2 different ways. We'll do it on the computer, and then we do it on Notepad, and then sometimes I'll let them do it on Notepad. I'll do it on Notepad, and Big Trey will do it on computer, and then we all compare notes and see who missed a culvert or a storm drain box or a tie-in, and it's the best system in the world.
So you get a big commercial job, it comes due. A lot of your commercial projects, do you have a good enough relationship with the GC to know like, okay, I'm going to get this job no matter what? Or are you like, okay, I got to be tight on my numbers because competition's stiff right now?
A lot of them are different. It depends on the relationship, who I'm dealing with. But a lot of our jobs, it seems like the last 5 years are negotiated.
That's really good.
Yeah, we negotiate, and they'll say, "Hey, we got a budget." I'll say, "Hey, I want to get every bit of that," and they say, "We don't want no change orders." And I'll say, "Okay, we'll try to stick to this budget." Generally, if a GC can, let's say he's got 600 in for civil, and he can know that number's good all the way through, it's gold.
Now, somebody that's just getting commercial and they're just learning the world of change orders and stuff. Talk a little bit about change orders, how they work, and any tips for change orders that you would have.
So a lot of people say on the job, get something signed and all that. Nowadays we have emails. So a lot, somebody on the job says, "Hey, they want more." Let's say we got a 24-inch cut. We're going to have to cut 48 out. That project manager will email us or we'll email them. And then we'll have whoever the geotech is doing the quantities. And then we'll cross section the quantities also.
And then billing for it, the money part of it. How does that work for change orders? Do you go like, okay, I priced this job and I'm really only doing 8, 9, 10% overall, but when it's a change order, heck, I'm getting 20 to 25% profit margins on this.
Yeah, I don't look at the profit margin. It just really doesn't bother me. But generally, when we do our pay app at the end of the month on the 20th or the 25th, we'll see if we can throw those change orders in. But a lot of times they have to be billed out the following month because they have to go in front of a board.
So that's interesting though. So like you guys pricing internally, like you're not looking at, okay, what's our cost now, add our profit on top of it?
We'll shoot shotgun pattern on it. We just, hey, we're running $23 on fill and 10 on cut. Let's just go with it. We don't sit there and run margin numbers. My margin is, I want to make sure I got $500,000 always sitting in one account.
That's a luxury to really have. And whenever you decide to grow, like us over the last couple of years, there's not $500,000 sitting in the account, but when stuff gets paid off for, but
it'll get down so low sometimes. Well, I'll be sitting there at night, wake up and go, I need to call this guy tomorrow. He owes us this, or I need to call this guy. I'm constantly running these numbers through my head all the time. Jimmy Bob owes me this. Doomy Hickey ain't paid. I constantly, and anybody in the office can tell you, I can tell you what's out and what's in. I'll say what's in the account, what's in the bag, and that's what I do.
When you decided to grow, start doing more commercial and stuff, obviously you got to put out more capital for that stuff. Was it kind of like friends and family, like, hey, I need a little bit of slush fund here to help my business grow? Or would you ever work with the bank on an operating line of credit or something like that?
No, just did it out of pocket, but I never got into my savings. I've done this my whole life and I've never touched my savings.
That's wild. What's your mythology? Like, why do you think that is? Because we were the opposite. I mean, like we took on loads of amount of debt 4 years ago to get to where we are now. Thankfully, we're in a great position, stuff being paid for. But what would you say? Is it slow growth technique or
slow growth technique? Don't let your ass overload you, or don't overload your ass. As far as buying equipment, I've never been scared of a note. Never. My great uncle Willis, he's a logger. He always told me when I was a kid, he said, don't go buy something till you pay something off. Let's say you got 10 notes, you know what I'm saying? And you say, I'm not going to have no more than 10 notes. Don't never have more than 10 notes, but as you're growing, your notes are going to get bigger and bigger. You go buy one piece of equipment, that's $300,000 or $400,000 where your whole operation, your life wasn't worth that, 10 years ago,
So you don't see anything wrong with somebody maybe going and financing something versus, saying, hey, if you don't have the cash in the bank to buy it, don't buy it.
It's kind of a double-edged sword because, I do go out and just pay cash for some stuff, but at the same time, if it's something we need, I'm going to go buy it. We needed a couple of rollers a couple of years ago. We bought 2 damn near brand new rollers. I needed 2 more rollers and I make my money back with it.
Yeah. Cause I see online, like you talk a lot about, the older stuff, and I've seen older stuff, but obviously an operation that you have, like you have to have some newer stuff that, they cost, like you said, $300-400, but sometimes even more. You get into bigger excavators or dozers. I mean, there's $600,000-700,000 machines.
Yeah. I don't know how many dozers we got. I don't know, 13 or 14 dozers we owe on one dozer, and then track hose. I don't even know how many track hose we got, but we owe on 2 track hose.
That's awesome. So keeping overhead low.
I try to. My payroll's my biggest,
Payroll and fuel.
Yeah. And if like I said last time, if you're If my fuel bill's high, we making money, baby. If I see that tanker truck rolling through, hey, we done hit them a lick that month before.
Now, do you look at then, when you go to commercial, okay, a crew should have 4 or 5 guys on it, but maybe we should try running a little bit more lean to expect more out of my guys. Like, how do you run your employees? Does this person just run an excavator? Does this person just run a dozer?
No.
Or are your guys versatile?
Our guys are versatile. They will jump out of a dump truck and be on a roller if somebody's needing it. We run lean crews. A dirt crew can consist of about 3 people running a big job. I mean, I look at some jobs up north. They have 10 scrapers, 5 rows. We don't run jobs like that. We'll be on a school job or, a new McDonald's or like a gymnasium or something. You don't need all those folks. Now, if we do get on a job where we're having to run water trucks, and all this other stuff, we'll put 5, 10 folks, but anybody that works here can run a roller. Anybody can run a water truck. Not everybody can run a dump truck. Dump truck drivers are a totally different breed, but all my drivers are good guys and they will jump out and go help the crew, if they need something, whether it be jumping on a jumping jack, they'll go do it.
And then you have somebody in the shop constantly that's working on stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We got 2 motors in there. We're trying to finish out a motor in a Volvo off-road truck right now. We're waiting on a thrush washer to come in today, and then hopefully we'll have it back up and running. You know me, I like running some old stuff, and a lot of people say, "Oh, I wouldn't run no old stuff." That's just me. We can work on it. We do, and I think anybody that's smart in business, or if they're in the dirt business, you don't go buy a new dozer to keep in a pit just to push off with. You go buy a 20 or 30-year-old dozer, it'll push off.
Yeah, exactly. You got to have the workload for it and put it somewhere where, it's not just going to sit.
Oh yeah. A lot of these young guys that I talk to all the time, and we do the Trey Bohannan Expo every year here at my shop. We do it for free. It don't cost anything to come to it. But you got guys like Diggy Storms, Trent Harris, Brandon Biggs, Seth Clausen, Reed. I mean, why all these kids, they're young dirt contractors, and I've got to watch these guys grow so much in the last 3 years. It's unbelievable.
Trent really, I actually have to get him on the podcast. I love, he just got that black Devlon skid steer.
That's one of his stickers right here. It says "burn the boats" up here on my deal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Trent, he come in my office and shot a video last year. He had my glasses on and sitting in my chair. I don't know, it's on one of his deals, but Trent Harris is just an Trent Harris is a bulldog. He's going to make it. I told him that the other day on the phone. He's fixing to build him a big shop, and he was worried about the money. I said, hell, don't worry about the money. Just build the damn thing, then worry about the money.
It's really cool though that like a lot of these guys, like they really look up to you, and like you obviously understand that and know that. Do you think that's kind of cool? Like, bringing it around from where you were with your mentor to now where these guys are looking at you, like that's really fulfilling as a man.
Oh yeah. Well, and George was good to me. His name was George Finley. And when he died, I told myself, he'll always live. I told him that on his deathbed. He died. I drove 110 mile an hour for 60 miles, and I third laned a bunch of folks trying to get to the hospital before he died. And third lanes, when 2 people one's in the fast lane, one's in the slow lane, you take the exit ramp and go. That's what I call third lane. But, I got up there and said goodbye, and he died just like that.
Do you think that it's crucial to have a mentor, like as these guys, to look up and find a mentor?
Yes. Being a mentor is not just being on screen, it's answering phone calls. A lot of people don't see the phone calls that I take daily and call people, and the stuff that Trey does for folks. We talk people off the ledge. They're at the end of their rope. They just cannot make it anymore. And they'll send an email, hey, I need help. I'm, lost in life. I sat on the phone one day for 2.5 hours with a guy down in South Texas.
That's wild. I mean, that's really neat that you do that. I think that's really cool, especially, guys that want to grow their business and are kind of lost. And what advice would you give somebody that does call you and says, listen, like I owe people a bunch of money. I don't know where I'm going right now. What would you say? Like, what assets do you have to sell off? Or what would your advice be if somebody said, listen, I'm in a bad spot?
Well, they tell me they owe a bunch of people money. I pretty much tell them that's them other folks' problem. It ain't theirs. Go talk to them. Let them know you can't pay them. They'll get it figured out. A real man's going to go say, I'll pay you $100 a week till I get it paid off. Boom, that's settled. It's when you don't answer the phone, you don't call the banker back, you don't call the fuel company back, you don't call the equipment company back. that's when you got a problem. And it's easy, Taylor, for these guys. We're in a world now where equipment's 3 times higher than what it was 10 years ago. They're putting their whole life on the line trying to make this living. And they go, can I do this? Can I go out and have a skid steer and a mulcher and make a living for my family? I can't tell them yes or no. It's whether if they got the dog in them or not. The fellow with the dog in them is going to go out there and work daylight to dark and sacrifice. He's not going to go on hunting trips and do cool shit with his buddies. He's going to make sure his children are taken care of, his wife's taken care of, and their family affairs are taken care of.
You know, I really love that because it's spot on. I say the same thing. People, you know, we recently acquired a building company, and just with all the other stuff going on, and often than not, right now, people are like, man, you don't know, like, how do you do that? Or how do you do this? And I'm sure people say the same thing to you. And I say the same thing. There's people that are cut out for it and people that aren't. You know, the amount of stress, the amount of BS that comes your way, like more money, more problems is 100% the thing. I mean, when you're not making as much, you go, man, imagine what it's like when I'm doing 5 million, 10 million, 20 million. I'm going to be no. Your problems just get bigger and they get more frequent.
That's exactly right. And I used to tell you, you know, when I was young, I'd get mad. You know what I'm saying? When I get on a job and things weren't going right. Man, if I'd had AirPods or some round deals, you track stuff, if I had them on my tools, I'd be able to find them today because I'd chunk a crescent wrench across the field, you know. I'd get pissed. And the guys that's been here forever, they'll tell you when I was young, I was hot-headed and, you know, I wasn't mean, but we went hard, you know. But we had to. We didn't have nothing. And I knew where I wanted to be. But, you know, a lot of these young guys will look and say, oh, Trey's got it made. I had the same problems you do.
Yeah, 100%. And not to say that now you still don't have problems. There's always, you're running a big job site, you running a big company. There is always stuff going on in the background. It's just maybe now because you've been doing this for so long. And even myself, I could walk down the shop right now and all the guys would be like, Taylor's having a great day. Nothing's going bad in his life, but the whole world could be crashing out in my office because this happened, this broke, this is going on, this GC's not paying. We lost this job by 10 grand on a $3 million bit, like everything.
Oh, and then a sensor went out on the track out when you got 10 trucks loaded.
Exactly. And that's just it. And, you know, that's why I loved your point of like, they just don't have the dog in them. It's true because you have to be cut out for this. You have to get good at dealing with it. And that's what you were saying is you used to throw stuff in this and that. For me, I got to go and run. I'll go for a run or I'll go punch a punching bag or do something because I was the same as well, too. I remember sitting in a bulldozer and my dad having to come to site to talk me off a ledge. I was running a little 450 and they were bringing me blasted rock the sides of a Volkswagen Beetle. And I was banging my head off the side of that dozer cab all day. And I said to Dad, I can't do it anymore. I'm not doing this. I jumped out of the machine. I throwing all my stuff everywhere. And he's like, calm down, relax. It's going to be fine. And, you know, just dealing with that stuff, you can't act like that as you get bigger and larger and stuff like that.
That's right. And, you know, Tyler, if you're running your own business and anybody's done it successfully or not successfully, I know this. When you wake up in the morning, you got to know damn well you're going to work to get your teeth kicked in. It's just how many kicks can you handle before you say stop. That's every day. No matter how good it's starting off, it can go to the handbasket quick.
So what would you say helps with being able to take those more kicks? Because for me, it's definitely time. And that's something that I've learned. And even this year, my motto was patience because something would go wrong. I'd get a text, my heart would start going, and I'd be looking at it going, you know what? Boom. And I'd start firing off, or I'd call the guy and say, are you kidding me like this? You know, you'd freak out. You react right away. What I've learned this year is there's actually more power. You control more power and things go better if I wait and say, you know what? I'm going to wait till tomorrow morning at 7 or 8. I'm going to have the night. I'm going to think about it. And then I'm going to carry forward from that.
I used to be real hot-headed, you know, and now it's just, I don't get as upset as what I used to. And you know where I catch myself getting more pissed off now in life? When I'm hunting or fishing and something goes wrong. Man, I get so pissed off because I'm like, this is my time. This shouldn't have happened. And I kind of had to catch myself. I'm like, I overreact sometimes. Like, hell, last year went fishing and the guy threw the damn dead battery in my Ranger instead of putting the one I charged all night. And we got out there. I said, you didn't put the hot battery in there? Well, I thought that one was. I said, well, you thought wrong. And hell, I had to drive 20 miles to go get a damn hot battery.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think it's definitely time that, makes it so that you learn how to control acting out or getting mad or angry or screaming or yelling. But I will say, a lot of the time we make ourselves sound like, oh, they got to figure it out. I still will get mad. I'll lose my cool. I will yell. It doesn't happen as often or more often. I'd say maybe 2 or 3 times a year at work do I get so mad to the point where I'm yelling. It happens. I'd be a liar if I said that doesn't happen.
And it's generally, if you stop to think, why do I get so pissed off? It's generally a deadline because some project manager just chewed your ass the morning before and said, we got to have this done. And then you get to the job and everybody's on vacation acting like they're at Disneyland or some bullshit. In your mind, you're going, hey, we got to get this done. This has got to be ready for the concrete guys. So the pressure is there.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of other stuff. Yeah, like you said, that kind of compiles behind it. And then just that person gets the short end of it because that's your fuse.
Yeah. And then if you make a bad decision at work and go home, whether it be your wife or girlfriend or girlfriends, somebody's going to chew your ass when you get home. But then you'll get to a point in life where you don't let that happen either,
100%. I totally agree there. I really like your output on, your input, of, residential to commercial and understanding, guys on how to get into commercial and how to start pricing it right. And I think the biggest thing for me, at least, would just be telling people like the margins, you're going to have losers, you're going to have winners.
Yeah. I know this sounds bad, Taylor, but I never put a whole bunch of damn thought into something before I do it. I just get it done. If we didn't make money, hell, we didn't make money. But as far as percentages, I don't never break a job down and go, well, if everything goes right, we're going to make 30%, or 10% or whatever. I just say, get the damn job done. Let's go to the next one. And I have a simple mentality. I ain't got no education, but what I do is just what I do. And I have my own financial system in my head, on how to do things. And, it's very simple. And it's almost like I still feel like I'm 13 years old. And a 13-year-old's running this whole damn thing, because I still want to get on a bicycle and pop a damn wheelie and shit. But I know I can't. My legs don't work like they used to. And, I still want to do all that fun stuff, but I can't. But, I'm stuck here. And so, yeah, I'll go out there, throw fireworks at people in the shop, just do funny, stupid shit. But that's what makes life good, is to still be able to be the kid you was growing up and don't change. I'm going to tell you something. And you young guys listen to this shit. If you start a business and you run it for 10 years, 15 years, and it changes you from who you was 15 years before, you still ain't one. I've watched a lot of damn folks. Well, they get them big houses and new cars and bath boats and lake houses, and they the sorry son, but I won't even talk to them no more. Because they act like they're better than everybody else. And if you ever act like you're better than somebody, you're totally lost.
I totally agree with that. It's what you said. If you change as a person, and I think, that's part of even me with my young kids, raising them. I remember my dad always made a point of that. We'd see the garbage man picking our garbage up, and I'd be like, as a young kid, like 5 or 6, and be like, oh, that'd be a stinky job. And my dad goes, yeah, you know what, Tay? It would be a really stinky job. You're right. But you know what? Those guys in that truck, they're making this much money and they're working really freaking hard. And if it weren't for them, guess what? Our garbage would be sitting at the end of the laneway. It'd be stinking even more and we'd smell it. He goes, so you got to thank those guys because they're doing an awesome job and they work hard.
And you never look down on nobody, no matter what you got. I can't get into all the stories and stuff, but I help a lot of people, not just on this, in different areas, but I'll never stop doing that because I'm still the same person I was 30 years ago. I believe in helping people. I believe, when I die, I don't want people to say, hey, he was a hard worker. None of that shit. I want to just say he was a good man. That's it.
Yeah, and it's important too what you said is like you still like to have fun. Like I that's the same with us too at the shop. Like my guys know, like I will be the first one to do the stupidest thing in the shop. And that's just they know that. It'd be like if there's something, if the golf cart's still hanging around, well, Taylor's probably going to go do a donut in the golf cart. He's going to be the first one to go do that. And I think that that's a lot of fun. But that's what also makes it fun here is, when it's work and it's serious crunch time, we're doing it. We're still having fun, but we're doing it. And when it's time to slack off and we have a barbecue or a cookout or something like that, we have a lot of fun. And the guys know it. We can lay back and have a pop and it's all good.
That's the same way here. We have a lot of fun. We enjoy everybody. The guys that work with you doing the stuff you do make it more humanizes you to them. And so I do the same thing, and I love the guys that work here, and they feel the same way about me. And I do. I know their families. I know all their children, their aunts and uncles and grandparents. And it's a big family here. But we do some cool shit around here. Not as wild as what it used to be.
Yeah, that changes. That changes. We kind of went through that change, I would say, this year, because I'm 29 years old, and a lot of the guys that work for us are 21, 22. We're young, and yeah, a couple of obviously not internet approved stories, but it takes one or two of those nights that ruin it, and it's like, okay, I guess we got to tighten up a little bit.
Hey, when we was your age, we'd drink all night and go right at it the next morning and work all day and do the same damn thing. I don't know how we did it, but I'm gonna tell you what, we did it, and we was wild oh my God, we was wild and banshees. We would just go at it, having fun, tear stuff up, get our truck stuck, new truck, go tear it all to pieces, cutting donuts.
And it's still fun, like I see the younger guys that work for us now too, and they do the same thing. They'll come in the morning and they'll look a little rough, and it'll be like they'll be like, "Oh, we were at the Crazy Horse last night until 3 a.m. or something like that, early mornings." And it's like it kind of just reminds me of when I was that age too, because like you said, I used to do that all the time. You'd be up late, but you still got up and you went to work. It's when they don't show up to work because they were doing that stuff that then I pull out the stories and say, "Listen, I used to do that crap too, but I got my ass out of bed and I still showed up in the morning no matter what."
I had one not show up. He still works here. He's been here almost 20 years. One of our main guys, I called him. I said, "Hey, where you at?" He'd had a late night. He was in a band or whatever. He didn't show up another hour. So I drove to his house, and he wasn't married at the time. And I went in there, and he was passed out on the toilet. He wasn't using the bathroom. For some reason, he sat there and had his guitar. And I think he took my phone call. That's where he was. He just fell asleep, sitting there playing his guitar. And I got him out. I said, "Come on, we got to go to work." And he went to work. But golly, that I don't see how they could do it. I couldn't do that no more.
Yeah, even just being 29 now, I don't recover the same as I used to. Like I'm turning 30.
When I was 29, I was wide open, Taylor.
Still?
Oh, at 29, I was wide open.
I'm wide open with work, but the drinking part, oh man, I can't do it like I used to.
Hell, I was wide open with both of them. Hell, my biggest contracts came when I was drinking, sitting on a tailgate.
You know what? I always say that to somebody because I'll go through spurts of, well, I'm on the wagon, I'm off the wagon. It's really hard in this industry. And my wife is always like, "Oh yeah, sure, it's really hard." And I'm like, I'm telling you, you go to a lunch with another contractor,
you're going to drink a beer.
You're drinking beer. It's a nice summer night. And guess what? Everyone knows, like, stopping in at our shop.
Yep.
It's just the way it is, and it's hard because that's the industry. And like you said, some of the best jobs or partnerships or something have come from having a beer or drinking a beer, because a lot of these big contractors, they have it in their head where it's like, I can't sit down and have a beer with this guy. Do I really want to do millions of dollars with him?
Oh yeah. And that I've fought that my whole life, the drinking, not drinking. I would drink too much and pop a wheelie, and the next day feel like hammered hell, but I'd still work all day. But most people you ever find that drink too much are overachievers. That's the way I look at it. If they're going to go dig a hole, they're going to dig a hole. If they're going to drink beer, they're going to drink beer till it's gone. They're going to work till they're out of fuel. That's just part of it. Some of the most successful people I ever met in my life drank too much.
Oh, I would agree to that.
And I don't advise these young guys to by no means follow my path on, doing all that drinking and stuff. But boy, it damn sure was fun.
Yeah. No, don't live with regret, right?
I don't regret.
No, me neither. I mean, even now, I still got a lot to go ahead of me, but I'm the same. I don't live with regret. I've made mistakes, but I mean, I wouldn't be where I am without not making those mistakes.
Hey, what about Con Expo? Tell me about the Con Expo coming up.
Con Expo's coming up next March. It's going to be a blast. Hopefully, you're there.
Oh, I'll be there.
I know last year we had a blast hanging out with actually Trent and those guys. And just seeing, I'm excited to see the parts of the show that I didn't get to see. Like, bring your running shoes because you're walking.
No. We're renting scooters. I'm going to rent you one. How about that?
There we go. I like that idea.
I'm going to rent you a scooter. Me and you's going to run through, and we'll probably swing by the beer booth. And
Probably.
they got a little rack on the front. We probably just get a bag and put some ice in it and just stick them down in there. And
That'll work out perfect.
I don't think you can get a DWI riding a scooter in the hallway, can you?
I don't know. I guess I'll find out.
Yeah, I'll bring some extra money.
But yeah, that's next year coming up, and I'm really excited. And listen, I know you're a busy guy. I'm a busy guy as well too. But I really appreciate you coming on the show today,
Oh, yeah.
talking to us. And again, you couldn't have said it perfectly. When is Con Expo? It's next March, and we look forward to seeing you there. And hopefully, you still are the reigning champion of most listened to podcasts.
Well, guys, I appreciate y'all listening to this. But, like I said, we was talking about old Trent Harris a while ago. If you guys don't follow this young man, you talking about a pit bull. This boy he works for the fire department. He pressure washes equipment at landfills at night. He works nonstop. I'll be very interested, Taylor, to see where he's at next March.
Me too. Like I saw his equipment the other day and the job that he was on, the scope of the job. And I'm like, man, when I first started following you 2 years ago, you would not have even thought about doing a job this big or have that much machinery.
Yes, blue-collar contractors. I love watching Trent because I've watched it from day one till now. He shows up at all my expos, my tractor shows, and if we're going to a show, Trent's there. He had a booth at Oklahoma, the deal we've showed up out there. He's my number one protege, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, he's a really good dude.
He is.
I appreciate it. Thank you for coming on today, Trey.
Hey, it's great to see you guys. Come on.
Take care.
See you, buddy.